Hello everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Vlog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing on this Saturday evening? Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is enjoying their weekend so far. Just got off a stream over on RK Outpost, Ryan's channel. Had a lot of fun playing some Fortnite over there. We had one round where we had a victory royale, which was very exciting. It was hilarious to see Ryan's reaction to that. It's around the 46-minute, 51-second mark. If anyone wants to see it, he goes crazy, and it is freaking wonderful. But we are here tonight to talk about that Obi-Wan Kenobi series, what it means for the current state of Star Wars, what it means for the future state of Star Wars, and also just some thoughts about the overall Star Wars EU, including recommendations or thoughts from you guys, and of course some of the updates on some of the novels that I have been reading, because I have been going EU crazy ever since Rise of Skywalker came out, and I realized just how bad, or even worse, the Star Wars trilogy, Star Wars series has gotten under the Kathleen Kennedy Disney regime. So I hope everyone in the chat is doing incredibly well. We got Peter Sharon in the chat saying, hello, Odin. What's going on, Peter? Jose Veguia is here. Hound 3000. James Clark. Artist is here. Tina, how is it going, Tina? Mark Lazarth. Aiden Vickery's in the chat as well. Clark Kent in the chat. Let's see. We have also got GMonkey76 here as well. Stream Elements is here. Blake Hemlow says, hello there, good sir. We got Slicer Neons. Tina, thank you for reminding everyone how to contact me tonight, and also to smash the melee button, please. Yes, smash that like button, please. It really does mean a lot. Out of Step with Reality is here. Grim is in the chat. Mark Lazarth's in the chat as well. Onta Evis is here as well. Dory the Hobbit is here. The Revenite is here. Love that name. Fantastic. One of the best books I've read so far has been the Revan novel from the Star Wars Old Republic series. Tina says, Stephanie, reminder that Stephanie and her family are celebrating her mom's birthday. Happy birthday to Mama Steph. And yes, so she will not be here, but happy birthday to Mama Steph. Happy birthday. Mr. Peabody is in the chat as well. Out of Step Reality says, how's it going? It's going pretty well. I got a sleepy chair puppy, couch puppy behind me. That's Willow right there, and she is adorable. She's fantastic. So overall, doing pretty good. George B.D. Lucas, I'll let Ryan say your full name on his channel. What is going on, good sir? Says, I reposted with sound, sir, on Twitter. Here to show love as well. Well, thank you, B.D. Lucas. I really do appreciate that, man. And that's awesome. Yeah, dude, he goes freaking insane, and it's fantastic. Kenneth Cook is here. Jim Slows is here. Trevor Random. Alex McCarthy, what is going on? Alex McCarthy says, howdy, Odin, for the third time today. Geez, been a long day since I last saw you about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, Alex McCarthy's been with me most of the day. I actually did a stream earlier of Star Wars Battlefront 2 over on the Twitch channel because I got a new headset in. And Alex, I don't know if you were hearing it correctly, but that mic was way too hot. That mic was way too loud. So I've tweaked those settings a little bit, so I might do some more streams like that, with just random streams over on the Twitch channel of some Battlefront 2, because I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and I got a new headset just so that I could talk with people, because Geeks and Gamers are going to be doing a lot more gaming content. Krista Nova has been doing a lot of that stuff over on, if those don't know, Darth Barbie has been doing a lot of content right now of Battlefront 2 over on the Gaming with Geeks channel over on Twitch. And we are planning to do a lot more stuff, including bringing in things like Minecraft, Fortnite, etc. So all kinds of new gaming content coming to the Geeks and Gamers channel. And then during my free time when I'm available, seeing that it's very easy just to, start streaming from the PS4, I will start doing some more Battlefront 2 streams, maybe a couple other games, maybe. But so far, that has been one of the most fun games to play so far. That's the one that I'm kind of happy to play at this point in time. Rosetta Allen, what's going on? Rosetta Allen says, how are you all? I'm doing just fine, Rosetta. Hope you're doing fine. Hope you're feeling better. Very sorry to hear about everything that happened. But it seems like y'all turned out one of the best case scenarios, I guess. There really is no best case when it comes to that kind of thing, when it comes to car accidents, but I'm glad to hear that you're okay. So please keep me updated. Zacharat315, what is going on, good sir? Hypernex13 says, the EU is definitely better than the new trilogy. Abeloth and Yuzan Vong is greater than the First Order, etc. Yeah, so actually, I haven't even gotten to those novels yet that deal with those characters. I know the Yuzan Vong I've heard of previously, but I've not gotten to any of the novels that focus specifically on those two groups. But I can tell you right now, just focusing on Old Republic era, talking about just Bane, the first Bane novel. Obviously, when you look into even post Return of the Jedi, dealing with the Thrawn trilogy, things like that. Things are just so much better in the EU. It's absolutely insane. Out of step with reality. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. And for some reason, oh, this is different. Oh, I don't like this. It's not showing me all of the messages. It's not showing me the entire message. I don't like, what did Streamlabs, what did you do to me? It says, my favorite scene in the Revan book is after Revan recovers his memories, he comes out and says, I am Revan, blows something. I can't read the rest of it. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we need to fix this before we go any further, because if I can't read messages, then that's going to be a problem. But thank you very much for that super chat. I think I can pull it up over on YouTube for now, saying, and blows away the enemy like a boss. Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the best parts of the Revan book. No question about it. Because it just goes to show you that there is, and what I love about the Revan novel too, is that it kind of steps in that direction of you don't just have to be a Jedi, you don't necessarily just have to be a Sith either. He doesn't go full gray either, but he and his wife are definitely towing the line of, between being full Jedi, full Sith, like just this, again, balance. And that's what it's always been about. It's always been mostly about balance. And it's really cool to see characters that actually embody that mindset. And Revan has been freaking awesome, because Revan not only has been one of the greatest Sith masters of all time, but also one of the greatest Jedis too. And it's very interesting to have that dynamic going on. Captain Peabody over on the D-Live, because we do got the D-Live chat going on right now. Rico Suave had followed me not too long ago. Captain Mr. Roy, Captain Peabody, before Ghost in the chat. GK Game Kings is now following me, and Captain Dean Heiss is over there as well. Hope you are all doing just fine over in the D-Live community. Aiden Vicker says, Revan starring Keanu would be the only thing that could save Star Wars for me. That would be pretty good. I think that Keanu would fit the character well, though I think when reading it, the way I saw Revan, at least in the era of the novel specifically, was him being a little bit younger than what Keanu was. Now, obviously, that could not be what the novel version of the character was, because I think the novel version was supposed to be a little bit older, so it actually might fit more so. But in my head, I envisioned someone a little bit younger than him. But if anyone could do it, I think Keanu would be a great choice. No question about it. But that's just because he's an awesome dude. Gmonkey76 says, my guess, it's Kathleen Kennedy trying to destroy everything she can before she is shown the door. Yeah, so getting back to one of the other topics, which is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, the fact that they have recently sent, not just saying, oh, we're pushing back production. It would be one thing if they said, oh, we're delaying production, because there's always production delays. Obviously, I think there's been a lot more production delays under the Kathleen Kennedy era of Lucasfilm, but obviously I think that speaks for itself already. But it's not even just that. It's that you already had people on location. You already had people ready to go, and they've been sent home. That's a very different scenario. I mean, again, whenever we hear production delays, I think we mostly assume that people haven't actually been sent out to get to work yet. And so the fact that they're talking about workers being sent home in this project tells me that it is not nearly as simple as Ewan McGregor, who has come out to talk about it. He seems to indicate, oh, it's not that big a deal. The people online are going off too crazy about it. But then why are we sending people home? Why were people sent out and then sent home? That seems to me like very poor management, because those people likely are being paid for that time that was now completely worthless. So that's a waste of money then. At the very least, at its very worst, you can say that money has already been wasted on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and they haven't even begun filming yet. Because not only are they extending the pre-production period of writing, but you had people on location that were then sent home. That screams problems to me, and yeah, I think that it is Kathleen Kennedy trying to make her mark before she goes. And I think she realizes this is the last real project that she has to influence. Because it seems to me like Clone Wars was mostly Dave Filoni. Based on just Star Wars Celebration alone, based on the fact that he was the one running point on that, just like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni both ran points for The Mandalorian. It was not Kathleen Kennedy for that. I don't think that it had her fingerprints on it. And I don't think that she was really involved in those projects. This, to me, the fact that she has decided that the writing is not good and has pulled production back, and that's the reports. The reports are Kathleen Kennedy was not happy with the scripts, which, remember, she went on stage and said, oh yeah, the scripts are done and it's great. And we're just waiting to start production. So she lied, basically, is what happened. She lied to the fans, which is not a surprise. But then all of a sudden now she's sending people home as well. So it definitely seems like she is trying to get her hands all over this project, which has me even more concerned for it, because Obviously, I was pretty excited for it because I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was very excited to see that series happen. Deborah Chow being involved as the project leader. Again, she's done great work so far from what we can see. So it had a lot of things going in the right direction. But if Kathleen Kennedy, with this move, is now showing her hand and saying, oh, by the way, I'm going to be a part of the creative team for this, that has me concerned. Because every other time that she has made decisions based on creative differences, how often have we heard that under the Kathleen Kennedy era of Lucasfilm? It has always led to some type of disaster with either someone getting fired or there being a ballooning of the budget or some mixture of the two. So, yeah, I think that Kathleen Kennedy is definitely involved in this project, and she's making it very clear she's involved, and that is not a good thing. Slice of Neon says, Odin's alive and early. Yeah, it started about a minute early, technically, but thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Hashtag Beret Earl T. the Nether. That is quite a combination of references you got there. Captain Dean Heiss over on D-Live says, to paraphrase Jack Nicholson as Joker, Lucasfilm needs an enema. Yes, absolutely. Great Jack Nicholson line. I love that line. Zach Gregg in the chat says, Hail Odin, hail to you, Zach Gregg. Hope you are doing just fine. John Early says, oh, Father, I don't know much about the now defunct Star Wars EU, but I know a major spoiler in one of the EU books, which I won't reveal here, but if you do your research, you know what it is? Well, again, I'm sure there's a lot of things that I've probably heard because I do follow channels like RK Outpost and Lethal Lightning, who are kind of like the EU gods when it comes to streaming content and video content. They're the ones I go to every single time. I'm like, hey, is this book good? And I take their word for it because I know that they have the understanding and they have not got me wrong yet. In fact, as soon as I told them, oh, by the way, guys, and this is one of the things I want to talk about, I just finished one of the novels, but it was obviously audiobook because that's kind of the way that I'm able to read with my ADD and everything like that, everything else going on in life. And I finished the X-Wing novel, Rogue One, or rather, not Rogue One, Rogue Squadron. And the X-Wing novel seems like it's going to be really good, and then it's an abridged version. So it take what probably would have been about a 9-hour book, and they condense it into 3 hours, which is already problematic. However, they did the same thing with the audiobook version of Outbound Flight, and Outbound Flight actually was a very good production because they had a great voice actor, and I think the cuts that they made were pretty seamless. This one, you can, one, tell that the cuts are terrible, but then two, they got one of the worst voice actors to do it. So again, this is X-Wing Rogue Squadron. Do not get the audiobook. It's only 3 hours long, so not only is it cutting like 6 hours worth of material out, which is insane, but then it's also giving you a terrible production. And it is a production of Lucasfilm. It is an official audiobook from them. And it's terrible. And thank goodness Audible has this feature where if you finish a book within about 30 days or so of getting it, you can exchange it and you can get your money back. So I finished the book and I was like, yep, this book was terrible. Not even just the book itself, but their version of the book specifically. Obviously, I'm not talking about the actual book, because I'm sure the actual book is great. I mean, it's very interesting because, starting with the premise of Wedge Antilles is going to, take Rogue Squadron and form it up and turn it into this elite group of fighters. Awesome. Great concept. That's the reason. There's a reason why they made so many books within the X-Wing series. This version was just absolutely terrible. And here's the big problem, is that the voice actor's terrible when instead of him saying Coruscant, which anyone who's watched Star Wars, oh yeah, Coruscant, I know where that is, he pronounces it Coruscant. And that's not just like he says it once. There are several times in the novel where Coruscant is mentioned, where he says Coruscant. Now, the immediate question I said was, oh, maybe this is an older audiobook. Maybe this is a book that was, put out there before there was an official pronunciation. But then I started to realize, no, that's not the case at all. They literally just chose one of the worst actors who does almost no voices for any of the characters. That's the reason why I love most of the EU novels, because the voice work is usually on point. Mark Thompson is by far the best voice actor out of all of them, but there's some pretty good ones too. The guy that did the voice work for Darth Plagueis was fantastic. I think there's another one, his last name is Davies. He does also great voice work too. And then they get this guy, and he's barely doing any differentiating voices, which is already problematic in the first place. But then the one voice that he has, the one time he actually tries to do a voice, is for Admiral Akbar. And his Admiral Akbar is, well, I just wanted to say I'm Admiral Akbar. Like, he adds this guttural sound, and he talks like this. And it's like, that's not even close to Admiral Akbar, so why are you even trying it? It's awful. So I don't recommend getting the audiobook version of that X-Wing series because he does, I think, the voice work for all of them. And also, if you find out that guy's name, don't listen to anything he does if it's going to be fiction. He might do fine with it when it comes to nonfiction because it's not like he has a bad voice, but when you listen to an audiobook from the EU, from the Star Wars universe, you're going to expect quality. And it has some of the worst stuff there. Daniel Thorne in the D-Lab chat says, thoughts that Rise will drop to 100th place after the plague ravages the Earth. Well, I'm not buying into the plague ravaging the Earth because this stuff happens like every 3 years. There's always some variation of the flu that happens. Everyone freaks out about it, and then nothing really happens. So I'm not too concerned about it personally. Captain Peabody says, well, that's understandable. You still have trouble saying Gallipoli. That is true. Gallipoli is how I will continue to pronounce that. But I'm also not someone that's been hired to do voice work for a novel. Someone that's hired by Lucasfilm to do to do voiceover for a novel. So, and this probably is back when George Lucas was running the show, if I had to guess. Clark Kent says, did you hear that Disney is making a live-action Bambi? How low can they go? I did hear about this, and immediately my thought was, why? Why would you think it's a good idea to make a live-action version? Live-action, meaning it's just going to be animation using the still not being able to challenge the uncanny valley, not being able to, totally get rid of the uncanny valley of Bambi. Why do you think the fans want to see Bambi's mom get killed in crisp HD? Why would you think that? That's such a terrible decision. And yeah, if they actually go through with it, I have no plans to watch it. None whatsoever. Daniel Thorne then says, all the X-Wing audiobooks are abridged. Also, another reason to avoid. Exactly. So all of them are abridged as well to a very crazy point. It's obvious, though, because of the abridgment and because of the voice actor, it's obvious that they didn't try. And that's really sad because I've heard a lot of people say great things about the X-Wing series of novels. Captain Peabody says it's Gallipoli. All right, Gallipoli. Captain Dean High says, live action Bambi, they kill Bambi's dad. Ooh, you know what? Watch that happen. Or they'll do something else. They'll do something to change it up. Bambi becomes a different gender, or they'll do something, right? That's always what they do. Disney loves to take what they have, tweak with it, and give us something that no one was asking for in the first place. That's just what they do, and it's stupid. Blake Henlow says, we gotta play some Battlefront 2 sometimes with Jeremy, Darth, Barbie, Ryan. Again, the Geeks and Gamers team, we are planning to do some Battlefront 2, the whole team together. I think next Saturday is when we are planning to do a big old stream, and I think we're going to do a big old Battlefront 2 stream, since that would be something that all of us could pretty much partake in. Alice says, speaking of Krista, she just went live on her channel playing Fortnite. Of course she did. Wait, so now she's not just playing Fortnite on her channel, she's going up against Ryan? Why isn't she just doing it with Ryan? Darth Barbie, going rogue. Whenever I try to, say, hey, Darth, you want to play a little game? She's like, no. And now she's streaming against us? Wow. That speaks volumes. Sajid Neon says, Darth Barbie just crossed the streams. Is the lady excommunicado? She's still new to the game, so I will not declare her excommunicado. Josiah Rises is, because he knew better. He knew better before he crossed the stream. But Darth Barbie, she's still new to the game, so I will not make her excommunicado yet. But pretty soon that could be the case. Tina says, I tried to watch your Twitch stream when I got the notification, but I think I saw Stormtrooper spread eagle on the floor, and I was thinking, that's pretty boring. Oh, no. Yeah, so we had fun, though. We had some fun earlier, so that's something that I might try and play a little bit tomorrow, maybe. Who knows? Rosetta says, spine definitely hurts a bit, but no permanent damage, just bored in bed resting. Well, you get your bed rest. Bed rest is very important. Healing is important. I'm very sorry to hear about the pain. Dory Hobbit says, your thoughts on Blade Runner 2049 director wants to go back to that film's world. Denis Villeneuve doesn't want a sequel, but a fresh detective noir story set in the future. I don't hate that, to be honest. I think that that's something that I would be okay with. If you're, instead of just doing sequels and reboots, why not just make an original story set in a universe? That is actually something that I am okay with. So if they were to set up a new story in the same future, like in the same world, I'm okay with that. It's one of the reasons why I like films like 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love that film because it's a great drama set in the Cloverfield universe. And even though they obviously could have used that film and not had any tie-in to the Cloverfield universe, the fact that it does, just to me, for me at the very least, adds a little bit more to it and makes it more exciting. Definitely makes it more exciting for me. So, yeah, I actually would not hate that idea, and I like Denis Villeneuve's vision. I think that he is a very great visual director, and I'm actually kind of excited to see what he does with Dune. I know there's a lot of controversy because of characters being changed and being melded together and being gender swapped and things like that, which I think we should all be wary of. I don't think we should completely ignore that stuff. But also, I'd be willing to give him out of anyone else the benefit of the doubt because he has not let me down yet. He has not let me down yet. So, G-Mungus76 says, my guess is Bambi's mom will be killed by President Trump's supporter and that forest fire will be started by climate change. Oh, you joke about that, G-Monkey, but you know what? Would it really be that surprising? I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be that surprising at all. All right, chat jumped on me, but looks like no comments were skipped for once, which is very, very, very nice. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. HyperDex13 says, today is a good day. Today is a good day, my brother. I passed my driver's permit test and now a stream. Couldn't get any better than this. Well, Hyper, and congratulations on passing the driving permits test. John says, sorry about that missing word in my previous post. I wasn't wearing my glasses and I ran out of characters. No problem at all, John Early. No need to apologize, man. It happens. Captain D9 says, what is Odin doing on your microphone? Looks odd. Oh, so that's not Odin. This is Voltan. This is Flash Gordon right here. This is Voltan from Flash Gordon. Odin's alive. Gordon's alive. And anyway, what he's doing is, so down here, this is Kylo Ren right here. And so this is him like just basically trying to chop his head off. I thought it was very symbolic. So I'm sorry if you don't appreciate it, but yeah, he's keeping Kylo Ren in his place. That's what he's doing. Odin's alive. All right, back to the chat. Slicer Neon says either Obi-Wan is being moved out of the witch's influence or she wants it to coincide with her stepping down so the media goes nuts about her leaving on a high note. Yeah, that could be it too. So it could be that she's claiming it's the script, but she's not doing anything to it, and she is trying to get it closer to her actual leaving or stepping down or whatever it actually happens to be. And that definitely could be the case as well, but I feel like her ego is so high that she thinks that she can create something better. That's what I think. Hypern says, hey, they gotten rid of the director too. Apologies, I can't remember her name, a female director, but I heard she was going to make Obi-Wan good. I didn't hear that they got rid of her. No, that would be Deborah Chow. She's the one that did the two best episodes, arguably the two best episodes of the Mandalorian series. And that's why we were very excited when we found out that she was being put as the head of the Obi-Wan series. So as of right now, that is still there, last time I heard. But if she goes, that's problematic. The reason why I like Deborah Chow so much is not just because of her two well-directed episodes, but also because the media tried to spin it saying, how does it feel as a woman? And she says, no. I don't want anyone to think of me just as a woman because then I'm just a female director. I want to be just seen as a director. And I'm like, thank you. And then they also tried to bring her race into it too. And she's like, no. Let's just talk about what I am, which is a director. It's like, thank you. Yes, race and gender should have nothing to do with this. So that's one of the reasons why I like her personally, because there's just that extra bit more of authenticity there, which I appreciate. Dean High says it looks odd. Didn't see Kylo. It's okay. It's all good, man. Captain Peabody says, yeah, I sent Kylo a while back and he blends into the mic stand. Yes, he does. He does. It used to be Rose Tico and him up there. But Rose Tico, of course, got replaced with Voltan because, he's a badass. He's pretty great. He is pretty great. Souls says, I guess by KK standards, if it ain't woke, it's broke. Seriously, she needs to go. Yes, she does. Rosetta Allen says creative differences is code for Kathleen Kennedy has ruined one more thing. It definitely seems to be the case. Hail Nitrium, I saw you in the chat. Glinzer, I see you in the chat. Kevin the Speedster, Gabriel Alejandro Padilla Rodriguez, Trevor Random, I see you all in the chat. And Spartan Jeremy as well. Blake Henlo says, do you think Star Wars projects are on hold at Lucasfilm until Kathleen Kennedy is gone, besides Clone Wars Season 7 and The Mandalorian Season 2 and the possible Rebels sequel series? Well, we're still not quite sure about the Rebels sequel. Based on indications that we've gotten so far, that doesn't seem to be a plan, because obviously Dave Filoni has been very much in charge of and has been focused on Clone Wars Season 7, which hopefully means it's going to be an excellent final season of it. I think that they are on hold because, again, the report. I can only go based on what's being reported. And what's being reported is that Kathleen Kennedy did not like the scripts, did not like the creative direction of where it was going, of where Obi-Wan was going. And that's the reason why there are rewrites that are happening, and that's why they had to send people that were already ready to go into production home. Now, the reason why I think that's true is because it's happened before. Remember that she's gotten into creative tussles with a lot of people. That's why Lord and Miller got fired about 80% of the way through principal photography for Solo Star Wars Story, which ballooned their budget like crazy because she had to bring in a new director who wanted to take it in a different direction. So I believe when they say that because it's happened before. She has a trend. She has a history of doing it. And so I think that has more to do. I think it has more to do with her just basically getting her hands in the script once again. And I don't think it's going to turn out well. I don't think it's going to turn out well at all. Alex McCarthy says, chorus can't. Yeah, seriously. He said chorus can't. I can't get over that. Tina says, core est can't. Sorry, since Steph's not here, I'm filling in for her pronunciations, and I always appreciate those spelling pronunciations. They're always great. Yeah, seriously, Elvis Akbar, indeed. I saw that in the chat. Slice of Neon says, oh dear, this audiobook, it's a trap. Yeah, exactly. Like, even that just there, I think is more authentic than what this dude was doing. And I'm not supposed to be a professional audiobook actor like this guy was supposed to be. Tina says, I know how you feel about those Audible readings. I've come across some really good ones, and I've had to return a couple of bad ones where the narration was cringeworthy. And that's what's sad, because I feel like if Audible's going to put their stamp on it, and I know that they have basically just picked up a bunch of audiobooks and put their stamp on it, even though it wasn't under their production. I feel like if they're going to put their name on it, they should make sure that it's a quality product. And if it's not a quality product, take care of it, which is the reason why I can at least respect them for saying, oh, if you finish the book within 30 days, which I think is actually pretty reasonable, because if you listen to most audiobooks, they're usually ranging between, around 6 and 13 hours, most average books, book lengths. If you listen to it like I do at like 1.2 or 1.5 speed, you usually get through it about 2 hours sooner than normal. So 30 days is plenty of time for most people, I think, to get through a book. And so the fact that they even offer not just that you get a credit for returning it, but you get your actual full money back is pretty impressive. So Captain Dean Heiss over on DLive says, Kathleen Kennedy didn't like scripts. Must have been good. Yeah, seriously. If she doesn't like it, based on what she has approved, I can only imagine what it was. Orange Hat Reviews, what is going on, good sir? Says, after you finish the Bane trilogy, let me know what you thought. You will like the beginning of the Dynasty of Evil. Bane does a cool training montage. Won't say more. Well, thank you. Yeah, so I finished the first novel, and it's fantastic. I was just on the stream earlier with Ryan and Lethal, and they both said that the second book isn't as great as the first one. It's not bad, but it's not as good. And that the third one is a little bit better than the second, but not as great as the first. Basically, the first is the best, which is what I pretty much expected, because it is that origin story of where Darth Bane comes from, which I always like. I always like those origin stories. So I'm pretty excited for it, though. Alex McCarthy says, live action Bambi. They better hire my wife to shoot Bambi's mom. Damn. Damn, son, you're just not even running away from that. Not even running away from it. Kentucky Boy 88 says, hello, sexy. Hello to you, good sir. And then Captain Peabody says, yeah, it's like a trap, man. Can I get my parking validated? It's like a trap, man. Can I get my parking validated? Sunny Neon says, SNL already made a live-action Bambi with The Rock. Nothing modern, aka unoriginal, and woke Disney can do to match or top that. Yeah, I would agree with that. I haven't seen the live-action Bambi that they did on SNL with The Rock, but it sounds funny. Tina says, but there's a reason Bambi's dad survived from what I heard. I heard an analysis of the book. The dad was there to bring him into manhood. Yeah, something tells me that that's true. And I think, don't they go into that into Bambi 2? I never watched Bambi 2 because I just saw it as a kind of worthless sequel. But if anyone has, maybe they'll have more into it. Gallipoli. You see, I got it. Gallipoli. I like Gallipoli. It makes it sound Italian. Gallipoli. This doesn't sound right. Gallipoli. Hybrid says, they'll add a supernatural twist to Bambi. The ghost mom will tell her son to abandon everyone, stay woke, and to pursue his dreams. Oh, okay, so kind of like Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Toy Story 4. Yeah, screw everyone else. As long as you're pursuing your dreams and you're happy, doesn't matter what happens to anyone else. I see, yeah. That would actually make sense. Mark Oquist says the only thing that would be worse would be to make Bambi a Bambi video game, he said. That would be a very quick video game, I feel. Because, like, if you choose to play as the hunter, it's over pretty soon. It gets done pretty quick, I guess. I wonder if you could change the story by choosing not to shoot Bambi's mother. That'd be interesting. John Early says, Bambi was already a girl in the James Bond film. Diamonds are forever. But that's not the Bambi we're talking about, bro. Come on. Slicer says, you just know the deer at the end of Bambi will be blamed in climate change in the remake. Oh, for sure. Tina says, all of you can forget it with your live streams. EFAP is on ripping Ralph the Movie Maker's idiotic review of Joker. Oh, really? Well, good. You know what? That's a video, though, that needs to happen. Because, yeah, I've heard some people's criticism of Joker, and they can't help but be subjective. As soon as you try and be objective, it becomes, no, that's just your subjective opinion. Hardwick says, which iteration of Doctor Who is your favorite? Okay, so what is my favorite Doctor? I've actually always had a special place in my heart for Eccleston. I've always thoroughly enjoyed Eccleston, and the reason why is because David Tennant's great, but without Eccleston, I don't think David Tennant would have had the same performance. And I know a lot of people, including my wife, would not agree with me on that. But I really do feel that Eccleston is the one that sets the stage of that quirkiness that David Tennant then takes and, dials up to 1,000, right? So it's David Tennant is unique enough in his own portrayal that I think he is definitely, there's a differentiation between the two. But Eccleston, to me, kind of sets the stage. So I've always liked Eccleston. I'm sad that he only got the one season, but of course, creative differences. Tennant is great. Matt Smith, I actually thoroughly enjoy as well. And I'm really sad about what happened to Capaldi, because Capaldi also had a great iteration of the Joker, iteration of the Doctor as well, but sadly got caught in the in-between of writers being changed, and the later episodes of his just are not very good, sadly. But yeah, that would be my answer to that question. Clark Kent says, could it be possible that Kathleen Kennedy is looking for another Mary Sue in Obi-Wan Kenobi? You know what? Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if she looked at the script and said, wait a minute, there aren't any strong female characters. That needs to change because that's what I'm all about, and that's my legacy. And then the whole show gets ruined because they try to force a character in that didn't fit naturally, and then guess what? You got yourself another Star Wars film going on. Oh, it's the sequel trilogy all over again. Orange Hat says, I will say this about the Bambi remake. They said no outside agenda would be shoehorned into the story. That's good, but they have a Captain Marvel writer penning it. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I did not know that they had a Captain Marvel writer. Yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. Why do you think I would ever want to trust them with anything ever again? All right, chat jumped on me. Aiden Vickery says, I'm kind of interested to see a Blade Runner off-world story. Yeah, again, I think that is the future of filmmaking. Or at least as far as like sequels and stuff. I think if they were going to focus more so on telling original stories in preset universes, that could work. Because one could argue, oh, well, build your own universe. And okay, but I would much rather get an original take or original story with completely new characters in a already pre-established universe than just get remake after remake and sequel after sequel, prequel, etc., all the way until we're blue in the face, which is exactly the age of Hollywood that we're in. We're in the age of the sequel. That's all that we're getting nonstop, and it's really, really sad. All right, let's see. Rosetta Allen says Bambi was always anti-hunter woke crap, but really was it though? I don't think the messaging was nearly as over the head, because other than the very beginning, when that happens, it kind of just falls away. And again, it's been a long time since I've seen the original Bambi, so I could be missing something. But I think that any of the political messaging, at least from the classic stuff, was much more subtle and not nearly as over the head as it is today. I think today's is a lot more, it's a lot worse. Alex McCarthy says, speaking of Krista, she is a beast at heavy. She's level 82. Geeks and Gamers crew playing Battlefront 2 is better than Disney Star Wars. Well, thank you very much for that, Alex McCarthy. I appreciate it, man. And yeah, she is a freaking beast. She is a beast. I'm starting to slowly level up my heavy. I think I'm at level 30 on the heavy. Kevin the Speedster says, I'm excited for it, but do you think Wonder Woman 84 will do well? I think at the box office, it will. I think that the first film gave it enough good press to be able to get it off to a good start. It's coming out at a good time of the year. I want to say, because it's coming out, summertime or close to summertime? Let me see. Let me get the exact release date. June. Yeah, it's coming out. Oh, wait. That's initial release in Brazil. Really? Its first release is going to be in Brazil? That's very interesting. That's very, very interesting. All right, so where are your release dates in all of your countries? That's what I want to know. Plot, details, release date, June 5th. So it's getting released June 5th. It's getting first release actually in France, Indonesia, Iceland on June 3rd, and then a bunch of other countries on June 4th. And then it says literally India internet. So there's a digital release that's going out in India? Wow, that's going to be pirated very, very quickly if that's the case. And then, of course, the United States will also be June 5th as well. So it's coming out at a great time of the year as well. So do I think that it's going to do well at the box office? Yes, I think that it's going to do very well. Captain Dean Heiss, thank you very much. Just resubbed for 3 months and is now on a 4-month sub streak. Thank you so much, man. That really does mean a lot. My D-Live fam is insane. You guys are freaking awesome, man. So Captain Dean Heiss, thank you for resubbing, man. I appreciate it. Captain Will Gentry says, so tell me, did you win at Fortnite? So one game we played, we actually we won. We got the victory royale, and it was awesome. Ryan's reaction is freaking priceless. Go check it out. It's on Twitter everywhere, and I'm sure he's gonna do a cut of it later on too. John Riley says, Henry Cavill considers BVS to be a Batman film, but Batman is actually a villain in his own movie, then if that's the case. Well, again, Henry Cavill to me is one of the most down-to-earth people in Hollywood, where I don't think he's ever going to say anything that's going to make anyone mad, specifically. I mean, I'm not saying that he's perfect, but think about how he addresses fan backlash, right? He says, no, I think the fans have every right to be angry with everything, and I think that there's no problem going on there. Like, they try and rile him up, and he's just such a dude. He's such a bro. He's just like, hey, it's all good, man. So I feel like anyone that comes to him saying, oh, isn't this movie terrible? He's going to say, well, no, I think that there's some good things we can look at here, etc. So that's how I would take it from him, and again, he has every right to his own opinion. Doesn't change the facts that it's not a well-made movie, but again, he has a right to his own opinion. Zach Gregg says, Kathy Kennedy is just saying it's just a flesh wound, just like in Monty Python. It's only a flesh wound. Exactly. It's all the excuses. Spartan Jeremy says, why do they call it a golden parachute? Wouldn't that be really heavy and cause someone to hit the ground like an anvil? I don't know where the history of that comes from, but I'm sure someone in the chat has an idea of where it comes from. Tina says, if you want Odin to see your comment, make sure you type Odin question. Yes, so on YouTube, just type in Odin question, all one word. It'll highlight orange on my screen, and then I'll know you're trying to get my attention. It's what makes it a little bit easier to navigate the chat, since I don't just read super chats or donations, though those are much appreciated, much needed sometimes. And so, yeah, you can just hang out in the regular chat with everyone else, but if you ever want to get me involved in your conversation, just type in Odin question. And those are the comments that I'm reading right now. And that's why I always fall behind. Right now I'm about 10 or 15 minutes behind the chat, which is pretty standard. Step out of step with reality. Says, if Kathleen Kennedy didn't like the scripts, it's highly likely they were probably good. Yes, I definitely think that's the case. Hardwick says, when Disney announced that they would be disregarding the EU, I was relieved, thinking, well, at least they aren't going to give Han and Leia an evil son. Was I ever disappointed? Yeah. Because at least in the EU, from what I've gathered, because I haven't gotten to those stories yet, I have not gotten to those stories in the EU yet, those made sense. And the characters are well thought out, are well put together, and they actually have story arcs, and it's fantastic. So I can't wait to get to those stories, though. I really can't. I'm freaking loving everything going on in the EU right now. Tina says, I'm listening to our March book club selection, The Prestige, the book Nolan's movie was based on. The narrator is okay, but when he does female voices, I laugh and then move forward. Okay, that's great. Well, if it's anything like the movie, there aren't a whole lot of female characters. Like, I think it's mostly male characters that dominate the story, but that's still pretty great. Fantastic film. By the way, I think that might be one of my all-time favorite Nolan films. And I think it's one of his most underrated. Not necessarily underrated like everyone hated it, but I think it's the one that is oftentimes overlooked. And it's one of my all-time favorites. I think it has one of the best stories. It's incredibly shot, and the acting in it is just superb. Hiram says, which Bane is more swole, Darth Bane or Bane Tom Hardy? Based on the description in the novel, probably Darth Bane. Dude, that dude worked in the mines most of his life, became jacked, and all of that, it's before he got trained in the dark side. So I would say Darth Bane for sure. Harwick says, do you think that Jason Momoa would make a good Darth Bane? I think he could make it work. I think he could probably make it work. I could see that. Keely Chow says, does anyone remember the Slappy and Skippy cartoon Bumby's mom? No, I do not remember that at all. Kathleen Peabody over on D-Live says, Kathleen Kennedy said, a story arc. Why didn't I think of that? No, seriously, right? A story arc? There is such a thing as a story arc in Star Wars? Who would have known? And then Captain Dean High says, let's see a film with both Henry Cavill and John Boyega. Dude. To see them in like a buddy cop film might actually be worth watching. Not gonna lie. Slice of Neon says, I'll just watch Bambi 2 over any live action ripoff. Sir Patrick Stewart as his father was excellent. My personal belief, it's best Disney sequel. Really? Wow. Yeah, I've never seen the sequel to Bambi. So it sounds like I kind of need to. I did not know Sir Patrick Stewart did the voice work for the father in that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Invickery says, Bambi's mom will not be shot in the live action because all the humans will have gone vegan. Well, that'd be quite a twist. Bruce, yes, you did. You made it, good sir. Spartan Jeremy, why can't you pronounce normal words? I can pronounce normal words. Gallipoli is not a normal word. Slice of Neon says, my only criticism of Joker, Brie Larson needs to smile more. Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right, chat jumped on me again. Let us see. Where are we in the chat? Tina says, EFAP was cracking up that Ralph says Joker is a corporate creation and a blatant Taxi Driver ripoff. You see, here's the thing, though. If it was a blatant Taxi Driver ripoff, then it would be just like Taxi Driver. But just because it might have been influenced by another film, think about almost most modern day films, especially the big budget ones. They're all influenced by something. Every writer or director has influences. So to say that is to say, okay, so we can literally look to almost any other film franchise and say, oh, this is obviously, I mean, if you want to nitpick, and I did, because this is absolutely what they did, that's why the reason why I went after, Mandalorian, one of the Mandalorian episodes, because it was a total ripoff of a story that has been established ever since Seven Samurai, right? But that's different because that's a story that has literally been done 1,000 times. And that's why it's lazy. Joker takes something that is, and I haven't seen Taxi Driver in a bit, but even though it has vibes similar, again, vibes, yes. I would say it has similar vibes to Taxi Driver, but plot-wise, I don't see the same connections there, personally. Gallipoli. So weird. Out of step with reality. I would love to be able to find a Revan lightsaber. Have you come across any? No, I don't collect lightsabers, to be honest. So that's not my jam. Hybrid says, nothing will ever replace the never-ending masterpiece on screen deaths of Uncle Ben and Martha and Thomas Wayne. Disney with Bambi's mom. Death is inferior. Oh man, so many deaths, so many times. Tina says, we need a whammon in this, a strong whammon who is the key to everything. Is Daisy available? Oh, could you imagine? I mean, it wouldn't work timeline-wise, but then they could just say, oh, she time travels now. Why not? Bruce says, Odin the wife sent me to the store and I missed the first 30 minutes. No problem at all, man. Happy wife is a happy life. Rosetta Allen says, Bambi and Fox and the Hound always angered me as a kid for how they portrayed hunters. Oh, Fox and the Hound is my jam. I love Fox and the Hound. It makes me cry, though. When the old lady is getting rid of the fox, tears. And then at the very end, when it's friend against friend, and there's all that stuff going on. Hardwick says, you ought to check out Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor Adventures, Volume 1 on Audible. It has 3 audio dramas, acting, sound effects, etc., starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate. That sounds fantastic. Okay, Hardwick, that actually sounds pretty good. I do like him. Nickel Noodles says, I would see the live-action Bambi if it is called Bambo First Blood, and it's a very in-your-face pro-Second Amendment film. Oh, could you imagine? If you mean that Bambi gets a hold of it, then yes. Captain Peabody says, it's okay, you are nailing Gallipoli now. You got it. Yeah, for now. But then I'm going to forget about it by next stream, and I'm going to say Gallipoli. 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 Dory the Hobbit says, Henry Golding was great in The Gentleman. Some say he might be the next James Bond. Henry Golding. I don't know that actor, but I do want to see The Gentleman. John Early says, I can't bring myself to watch Thor the Dark World. I'd rather watch The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, The Dark World's definitely the weakest of the Thor films, in my opinion, but I do like it still. I'm biased towards it because, obviously, Odin Allfather, but I can understand why a lot of people list it normally as one of the worst Marvel films that has ever been made, and I totally agree with that. Aiden Vickery says, time for a Raven Awards reminder. Absolutely. So please, if you want to vote in this year's Wednesday Raven Awards, it is something that we do on this channel. It'll be our second year doing it, and it is basically it's a boycott of the Oscars. It's a boycott of modern day Hollywood, where it's a bunch of patting on the back, and it's the same people getting nominated over and over again, and it's very political in how it's brought about. This show that we have here on the Otis Movie Blog channel is not. It's all about what the fans love, what the fans liked, etc. So if you want to vote in that poll, Tina is going to post a link to it. Also, if you go to my website, ombreviews.home.blog, I know it's a mouthful, but I think it's pretty easy to remember. Go to the Raven Awards section, and you can go to the current 2019 section, and it'll actually have the poll directly on there and a link to it as well if you'd rather fill it out in its other form, because again, sometimes people don't like the way that it shows up on the website. But anyway, if you want to go ahead and vote in that, you have still a couple more weeks to do so. Around February 8th, I believe, which is going to be a Saturday stream, will be the last one that we have before I close the polls. And then I'll be calculating all the numbers, crunching all the data, and then we will have the live stream on, I think it's going to be February 9th, which is when the Oscars are hosting and are starting. We literally will go live a little earlier before the Oscars start, go through most of, as long as I'm able to, the Oscars broadcast, all the while announcing the winners of the various categories, which include things like NPC of the Year, Shill of the Year, Best Film of 2019, the Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson Award for Excellence in Craft World Building, which is essentially the worst film of 2019, and many other fun categories like that. So go check out the link if you wish to vote in that. Larry says, only Monty Python can do female voices. Yes. Oh my goodness. There's some lovely filth down here. How do you do? Sasanian says, meant to ask while you were still playing, any new Pokemon from Sword and Shield you really liked or were really old, or were you strictly old school? Yeah, because it's been a long time. Again, I haven't played Sword and Shield ever since I beat it, which I kind of think speaks to the longevity of the game. I like the wild area a lot, but it was very limited, and I don't want to have to pay for the expanded wild area. I think that should have been included in the game. It almost feels like it was an incomplete game, and they were like, oh, we're going to complete it now, but we'll charge you more money for it. So I'll probably wait for that to go on sale if I ever get it. But as far as any new Pokemon that I liked, I'm pretty old school. I think that they're starting to really stretch on these names, and even the original 151 have some pretty bad names, but yeah, I'm not a fan of a lot of the newer versions. Not a fan of a lot of the newer versions, that's for darn sure. Alrighty, let us see. Where are we in the chat? Where are we? Orange Hour Review says, you will love the Fate of the Jedi series. They have the ultimate evil in that series. Very cool. I'm assuming that's a book series. Alex McCarthy says, you know who would love Chorus Cant? Kathleen Kennedy, because utter crap to us is brilliant to her. Yes. Oh, man. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she actually were to ever say Coruscant instead of Coruscant. Captain Gentry over on DLive says, I don't see the connection between Joker and Taxi Driver other than it being someone's mental decline in a gritty urban environment. I don't really see the connection. P.S. I was joking with my above way of saying Gallipoli. I figured as much, man. But yeah, I think that you're right. I don't see the connection either except for the tone. It has a dark tone with an anti-hero. It's like, okay, so just because there's a dark tone with an anti-hero in a dark city, and so does Taxi Driver, that means that it's like Taxi Driver? Yeah, I don't really get it either. A good friend of mine, John Flickinger, he says that too, and he thinks that the connection is a lot stronger than I do personally, and he's been wanting me to rewatch the film so that way I can see it for myself. And next time I watch Taxi Driver, I will take notes and I'll say, okay, what similarities, honest plot similarities are there between the two? Because if it's just general things, I don't think that's enough to say it's a ripoff, because I think a lot of those things have been established for a while now. Daniel Thorne says, like the various ways to pronounce Polyponies? Polyponies? What is Polyponies? What? What are you talking about? What do you talk? Out of Step with Reality says, I think a good trilogy of Revan would be the following: Episode 1, Mandalorian, Star Wars, Episode 2. Okay. I think a good trilogy of Revan would be the following: Episode 1, Mandalorian Wars. Episode 2, Knights of the Old Republic. That's not a good title. Episode 3, Revan. Okay, I guess so. You're talking about what you would actually see. So yeah, if the Episode 1 dealt with the Mandalorian Wars, that would be great. Knights of the Old Republic game I've never played, so I don't have the concept of that. The Revan book, of course, I think would be a fantastic thing to have in that. The only problem, no, that would all work. I had to remember, I was getting my Bane and Revan mixed up. But yeah, that would make sense to me. As long as Kathleen Kennedy's not involved. Yes, absolutely agreed. If Kathleen Kennedy's involved, then it's just not even worth it at that point. Tina says, I see hints of the movie in the book, but Nolan took key elements. The book is told from several points of view, including the leads and a female descendant. It spans about 100 years. Oh, okay. Wow, yeah, that's a lot more detail. That is a lot more detail. Spartan Jeremy, and you managed to pronounce Gallipoli right that time? I guess so. Eric Henry, did you like Oblivion? I did. I loved it. And a lot of people didn't. I thought it was probably one of the best looking films of that year. The visual effects are still stunning. When I saw that film and no one was talking about it, and no one was giving it, I think, the benefit that it deserved, and no one was talking about the visual effects either, I was like, are you blind? These are some of the best visual effects I've seen in a movie. Those visual effects still hold up. It is just a beautiful looking film. I love that movie just for its look. The story's good too. And it's not groundbreaking, it's not earth-shattering, but it's good. And I think that having the fantastic visuals and everything else just being pretty solid is worth a watch. So yes, I love that. And that's why I'm so excited for Top Gun 2, because the same team that did that movie are also doing Top Gun 2. And then they obviously have Tom Cruise back as well. Soul Assassin says, speaking of books, my mom wants to read the Witcher books now since watching the show, and my dad wants to play the game. WTF. Wow. Yeah, I don't know their ages, but whenever you say mom or dad, it's usually going to be like, wait a minute, should they really play that game? Should they really read the book? Let's see. Hardwick says, Henry Cavill talked about how he wants Superman to be portrayed, and it seems like he understands the character very well. His description sounds nothing like what Snyder had him doing at the time. And yeah, I think that Henry Cavill is a fine Superman. He was never the problem. It was always the writing. And I know that there are huge Zack Snyder fans out there and huge defenders of him. I'm sorry, he doesn't make good movies. There's not one movie that he made that now in 2020, I can look back and say, I still like that movie. I'm not going to lie. I love 300. Didn't age well. I liked Watchmen. Didn't age well. And I think that he has always been style over substance. And some people just like his visual style. And they say, but it looks right. But it looks what it should be. These are the things that it looks. But there's no substance there. And that's always been his issue. That's always been his problem. Henry Cavill was never the problem with that series, though. Riff Magos, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Says, Hail Odin, I've never enjoyed the EU books more than I am right now. Thank you, Disney. Well, Riff Magos, I could not agree with you more. The EU has been freaking fantastic, and I'm so glad that I've discovered this universe because it's keeping Star Wars alive. Because Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk are trying to kill it, and it's probably, we could honestly say, have already killed it in their own canon, of course, which many of us, rightfully, don't take as official canon anymore, and has provided for us a nice escape. It's been fantastic. So Riff Magos, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. John Early says, people saying Joker is a Taxi Driver ripoff is like saying The Departed is a ripoff of Internal Affairs. Yeah, Infernal Affairs or Internal Affairs? I don't know. I haven't seen either version of that version. The Departed, though, fantastic film. But yeah, I think that a lot of people probably have made comparisons of many films to many other films. Captain Gentry says, I'm anything but a fan of Snyder's work, but I would have been curious to see where he took Superman if he had the chance. From what I've heard, people like Ryan say it sounded epic, but I'm very wary as to how it would have ended up when it's made by Snyder. Yeah, I agree. And I'm sorry. I know that Ryan is a huge defender. Again, they're all, him and Lethal are all, release the Snyder cut. And I'm like, release it so that people can stop saying it. So people can just shut up about it. Because I don't think it's going to fix it. Because no matter how much more time you add to it, he's never been good at stories. I'm sorry, he's never been good at stories. Visuals, you can give him credit for. Not anything else. Arc Trooper Knox says, The Hunter in Bambi is one of the most evil Disney villains because he actually kills somebody. You're right about that. And it was an innocent mother. It was an innocent mother. And I guess that's the reason why some people are like, it's anti-Hunter. Well, I think it's just a story where the Hunter's the bad guy. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's anti-Hunter. That's just me, though. Rosetta says, yes, but I am a hunter, and in Hill Folk, hunters aren't villains, and they're not villains. But in the story, he is a villain. I don't think the film is saying that all hunters are villains. I'm thinking that it's saying that specific instance, since they're now giving a personality and voice to a animal, that's the case. But again, I haven't seen it in a very long time, so I can't really speak to it. Alex McCarthy says, Bambo better star the magnificent Sylvester Stallone. Oh, could you imagine Bambi being played by Sylvester Stallone in Bambo? Hey, you killed my mother. I'm going to come and get you. Bruce says, Joker and Taxi Driver ripoff. Whoever that was that said A doesn't like the Joker. B wanted to say something negative about it. C doesn't like the Joker. I do think that in some people's minds, it can be viewed as an honest criticism, because I definitely think that pointing out the similarities with other projects is definitely a good thing to do, or at least it's a sensible thing to do. But yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it, though, either. HyperX13, random question. Have you ever heard about Missing 411? Cases about hundreds upon hundreds of people who go unexplainably missing in national forests. Pretty scary. No, I have not. The only one that's similar to that I've heard of is that one forest in, was it Japan, where people go and take their life. That's the only one that I've heard, and it sounds so freaking creepy. Sizer Neon says, Todd and Copper should be a summon in the next Kingdom Hearts. Also, Bolt and Goliath from Gargoyles. Oh man, Gargoyles was a great show. Great show. And Todd and Copper being a summon. Damn. I've never played Kingdom Hearts, actually. But I get the characters. Let us see. Where are we in the chat? Clark Kent says, what is the next EU book that you will listen to? I just started a book, and it is a part of, I forget the name of the series because I literally just started it. It's also like the Old Republic series. But let me see. Let us see if this will even open. Having some glitching going on with the phone. Star Wars Old Republic Deceived. So this is dealing with Darth Malgus, right? Darth Malgus? Again, I've literally only just started that book. So that's the one that I'm currently listening to, voiced by the incredible Mark Thompson, who is my favorite voice actor for the Star Wars books. Sasha Neon says, finished watching, was it Deep Space Nine? A fantastic series with amazing writing, stories, and characters. Entire cast, but especially Avery Brooks nails it. Every sci-fi fan should watch it. Soul Assassin says, for an Old Republic series, a mini-series would be better than a movie. Enough time to flesh out the characters and plots from the series. Yeah, I agree. and disagree. And the reason why I agree, obviously, is because a TV show always gives you more time, and books obviously need more time to really get fully fleshed out. But I disagree sometimes because I don't trust Lucasfilm in the current state to handle it well without trying to shove in a lot of extra stuff. In a movie, you have less time to do that. But even then, I still don't trust Lucasfilm because I think they would still try to add it anyway. But yeah, I think that if you're going to try and tell the entire story the way it should be told, a series is the only way that you can really do that. Bruce loves Oblivion. Good. It was a fantastic film. It's freaking beautiful, too. Harwick says, I'll DM you the Audible link for the Tenet Tate dramas on Twitter. It's made by Big Finish, as is Volume 2, which stars Tenet and Billy Piper, but Audible doesn't have Volume 2 yet. Well, I'm sure that it will pretty soon, especially if people demand it. Tina says, this is Sparta. And hashtag release a Snyder Cut, better Snyder than J.J. Abrams for me. And I think that you're right there, because J.J. Abrams is mostly a hack. Again, Snyder is at least good at something. He's really good at visual effects. He's really good at getting the visuals of the story. Now, I don't think some visual effects have aged as well as some others have, like, for example, 300 visuals, but it has a visual style to it, and I will give him kudos for that. He sticks to a style, and he does it usually pretty well. But the story isn't there for me. Nickelodeon says, Oblivion is one of Cruise's best. I love that he has an entire man cabin to get away from his girlfriend, even though they almost the entire planet to themselves. You're right, man. I love it. It's so good. But also the ending, right? It has one of those, if you like Alita Battle Angel and you love the moment where she says, F your mercy, he has a line just like that at the very end, and it is so freaking great. And also, one of the unsung heroes of that movie, the score. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you how many times I went back and listened on YouTube to the score. I forget, let me see. I forget who did the score. Let's see. M83? Who did the score? Yeah, M83 scored the film. So I think they're like, I forget, I don't know what they are. But yeah, just to go ahead and show you about why I think it's an extremely underrated film. It got a 53% from critics and a 61% from users, with an average rating of a 5.8 from critics and a 3.4 from audiences. And I think that it deserves so much better than that. That is a film that, to me, has actually aged pretty well because the visual effects still hold up. I have not seen that film in a while, but dude, the score to that film is fantastic. The ending score, oh my goodness, so freaking great. In fact, I would say go ahead and look up Oblivion opening scene just to see the visuals and just to hear the score, because I think that it's incredibly well done. All right, jumping over to D-Live for a second. Let us see. Oh my goodness, Captain Gentry is going off over there, and I'm trying to see which comment I've actually... What have I actually read? He says, yeah, release, so they will shut the hell up. I don't even know why they want it released. They all admit it won't fix the movie, and yet they want it anyway. Isn't that amazing? Captain Peabody says, I think Bambo is a great idea. They drew first blood. They drew first blood, and now Bambo gets his revenge. Exactly. Captain Dean High says, Bambi remake with it will be a prequel told from the hunter's point of view leading up to the killing the mother. Oh, that would be interesting. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for driving the diamond. Thank you for dropping the diamond donation, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it, Captain Mr. Roy. I love those diamonds. Not as much as I love gold. I don't know why I went in that direction, but I did. Don't question the mind. But yeah, Nickel Noodles, it is such a great film. Soul Assassin. If you got the chance to check out the Old Tales of Jedi audiobooks on YouTube, really good and most an hour long. Okay, tell me more about that. Aiden Vickery says, Infernal Affairs was the Asian film that The Departed was a remake of. Okay, gotcha. So, yeah. Okay, now I'm remembering that. So, that was a remake. And I'm pretty sure he was pretty straightforward that it was a remake. Right? Wasn't that how it goes? It's been a long time. Hardwick says, Big Finish also made some audio dramas about Jenny, the doctor's daughter, with Georgia Tennant reprising her role. However, it isn't on Audible yet either. Okay, gotcha. HyperX13. Who are your favorite actors of all time? Mine would be Daniel Day-Lewis and Philip Seymour Hoffman. All of those are great shouts. For me, one of my all-time favorites is still Heath Ledger. And some people might say, of all time? And yeah, in all honesty, for those that don't know, I went to college for film criticism. My undergraduate degree was in communications, concentrating in film criticism. And so I took a course on stardom. And so basically it's just diving into what it means to be a star, the different eras of stardom, what actors went through during the studio era and all this other stuff. Our big project for that class was to do a star study where we had to pick one movie star and look into their life and basically do a full profile on them. And so I chose Heath Ledger because it had not been too long when I was in college. Dark Knight had come out. So he was still very much one of my favorites just because of his portrayal of the Joker. But because I picked him, I ended up watching all of his movies, or at least most of him. And I got to see a side of him that not many people saw, which was the fact that he's always been good. He's always been a very good actor. And the one that always gets me, it's a film that he made called Candy. It's not available on digital last time I checked. It's very hard to find as well. It plays him. And there's another actress who is actually kind of a name. I forget her name, but she's one that most people would probably be able to recognize. But the film focuses on these two who are not only in love with each other, but are also addicted to drugs. And so it deals with their relationship on drugs. And it's just phenomenal. Like, seriously, if you want to see an incredible acting performance, it's depressing as hell. So if you don't want to be sad, don't watch it. But if you want to see, so it was a film made back in 2006, and it stars both him, Jeffrey Rush is in the film. I forgot that he was in it. That's right, he is. And then Abby Cornish, that's the one, Abby Cornish. So she's been in a few other films you might be able to recognize her from. But oh my gosh, dude, that film is it's just insane, and I love it. But doing that star study on him made me just appreciate him so much more as an actor. And ever since then, he's been one of my all-time favorites. So, over on D-Lab, Captain Peabody says, Oblivion was on free-to-air TV. Free-to-air TV here. Notice something. The playback on the flight recorder couldn't have been recorded. The flight recorder was in the midsection of the ship, which they separated from. Still a good film. Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked into it that much, so I don't have a response to it. So I'll take your word for it. But I'm assuming that they could argue that it's the technology of the time because it does take place in a futuristic society. So a modern day tape recorder, yes, but maybe they're able to work it. I don't know. Maybe that's where it is in the ship, but it's tied into the rest of the ship too. So maybe that's how it got the footage. I don't know. I would have to look into it personally. Daniel Thorne says, do you think Fantasy Island will be good? On the one hand, it's a remake of a horror twist. It's a remake with a horror twist. On the other hand, it's Blumhouse. Well, that means that it can either be really good or really bad. I do like that there's a twist to it. So yeah, it's 50-50 really. Captain Gentry says, favorite actor ever is Gary Oldman. He's the only actor that embodies the character so much that I never realize it's him in the role. That's very true. He has one of the most dynamic careers of all time. There's no question about that. Rosetta Allen says, okay, name a Disney movie that treats hunters like a hero. But here's the thing. Just because Disney hasn't made a film where hunters are treated as a hero doesn't mean that the hero is, or rather that all hunters are villains. I don't think that's the right way to think about it, because you can then say, okay, Disney hasn't made tons of films about tons of characters. Does that mean that they hate them? I don't think so. I don't think that works in the same way that you would think. Arc Trooper Knox says, my name is Bambio Montoya. My name is Bambio Montoya. You killed my mother. Prepare to die. Glinzer says, with Joker a big success and Craven and Morbius movies coming, do you think there will be more Marvel DC villain films? Yes, I do, and they should jump on that, but they should make them as great as the Joker. My problem is going to be I think Warner Brothers is going to see the dollar signs and is then just going to go crazy. It's just going to go so crazy with making movie after movie without actually thinking about anything else. And no, I will not be doing that because anyone that comes in here from Turkey is usually not here for a good reason. So I'll just go ahead and take care of that for now. Keely Chow, can anyone imagine if Greg Berlanti worked with Zack Snyder on the DCEU? I don't catch that reference. Harvick says, the reason why Sylvester Stallone's mouth looks as it does and his voice is slurred is that he suffered nerve damage in his face due to doctors roughly using forceps during his birth. Really, Hardwick? I did not know that. Wow. I don't feel like it's gotten better over time, though. I feel like it wasn't as bad as it is now. Alice McCarthy says, me and the missus was watching Fox and the Hound the other night when Copper was barking, her Rottweiler Maximus moseyed into our room. I love when dogs react to movies and such. Slasher Neon says, why no word about a live-action Pinocchio or Snow White? Very few classics left to abuse a requel out of. Oh, trust me, Slicer, it's going to happen. They're going through their entire catalog and remaking everything. They are going to remake everything, and it's going to be really bad. Captain Mr. Roy says you can watch Candy for free on Tubi. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty obscure, though. I think that kind of carries on my point because that's a very obscure place to have to find it. Captain says, sorry, Odin didn't see it. Been sick, so not so. Wait. No, Peabody, no, you did nothing wrong. I literally saw it pop up immediately and acted on it immediately. So it wasn't even like it was there for even 2 seconds, right? So no apologies necessary, my friend. I merely saw it, saw what the message was, saw turkey in it, and was like, okay, I'm going to take care of this right now because we all know as soon as anyone mentions turkey over on DLive, something bad's about to happen. And it's sad that that's what we've come to at this point. Keely Chow says, can you imagine what if Marty Noxon worked with Zack Snyder in the DCU? So you've made another reference that again, you're going over my head. I need more context for that. If these are comic writers, I'm not a comics guy, so that's going to go way over my head. Hybrid X13, question, do you think supernatural twists are bad in storytelling? It really depends on the movie. Generically, no. But I think it really depends on the movie overall. Harwick says, if you need any proof of how irrelevant the Oscars are, just remember that Gary Oldman never won an Oscar until a year after Brie Larson did. That's a very good point. Gannison Alita Troll says, how are you? How are you, Alita Troll? Gannison, glad to have you back, man. Feel like we haven't had enough streams together recently. Miss you, dude. Slicer says, release the JJ and Lucas cuts on So Magic Touch... Release the JJ and Lucas cuts so Magic Touch Ortega has more material to work with. Yes, agreed with that. If anyone can fix it, it'd be Ivan Ortega. That's for sure. Harwick says, there's a new movie called Mr. Jones starring James Norton and Vanessa Kirby that looks promising. It's about the reporter who broke the story of the Soviet-caused famines. I have not seen anything about that film. It does sound interesting, though. Soul Assassin says, the Tales of the Jedi story takes place about 50 years before Revan and KOTOR with the character called Exar Kun. Okay, so was that originally a comic? Was it originally a book? Like, where does that come from? Archer Bernock says, A Knight's Tale is always a great watch. A Knight's Tale is always just a fun watch. Yes, agreed. Is it objectively the best film? No, but it's actually a really good movie. Like, the more I watch it, I'm like, this is actually really good. I mean, you kind of have to go in there understanding what kind of movie you're going to get, but some people I think would go in there saying, it's called A Knight's Tale, and it's nothing like the Canterbury Tales, and there's all these references in there. It's like, that's the point. It's supposed to be this loose grouping of random people that has some basis in history, but is not a history film, and that's why it's great. Stephanie B says, Chief, what is up? What is going on, Stephanie B? Happy birthday to Mama Steph, everybody. Happy birthday to Mama Steph. Gannison says, how I miss Heath Ledger. Me too. Way before his prime. And I think that there are so many other films that we could have gotten from him. Not to mention, obviously, the big one, of course, being Dark Knight Rises. Can you imagine Dark Knight Rises where you actually still have Heath Ledger's Joker? Man, that would have been such a better film. I'm sorry. He did everything he could with what he had. Nolan did. But man, it would have been so much better with Joker. Captain Gentry says, talking of Brie Larson and Gary Oldman, do you think she deserved her Oscar? I never saw the film she got it for. Yeah, at the time, yeah. Compared to the other performances that year, she was great. And again, that's something that I said very early on when Captain Marvel was going on. I said, hey, by the way, I liked her in Room. I thought that was a great performance from her. She can act. She's not a great actress in Captain Marvel. She gives a terribly wooden performance in that film. And that, of course, I blame especially on the directors of that film, for sure. And I still have my problems with her and a lot of the things that she said. But I can give credit where credit's due. So, yeah, I don't crap on people just for the sake of crapping on them. I can give credit if there is indeed credit to be given. Harwick says, Glenda Farrell talked about how in the 1930s, the studios made actors go on fake dates with other actors at nightclubs so movie magazines could make up stories about them being an item. Yeah, exactly. They would do that. And then, of course, there was, that's why I love the film Judy that came out this past year, because it kind of goes into, where her drug issues came from, because they put her on pills to keep her awake during the filming of The Wizard of Oz and many other films that she worked on, because she was a much younger actress, to keep her awake, and then gave her other pills to make her crash and get sleep, and basically got her addicted to this stuff. And that's what eventually caused her to die, in her 40s? I think the film, again, it's been a long time since I've studied her life, but she died, 45, 46 years old? So she was very, very young when she died. And a lot of that is because of the studio system and because of some of the terrible people that work in it. Cat Levi says, Nolan did the best he could, but Bane was an awful character. Poorly written and poorly acted, in my opinion. I didn't fear him at all. You see, I love Bane, but for comedic purposes. So I think you're right. He wasn't scary because the whole time, all I could think of was, this voice. Yeah. I love Tom Hardy, though. Tom Hardy is great. Let's see. Alex McCarthy says, I took a film course in college, Bayham 401. I made an A+. I bet you did. If all you had to do was watch Michael Bay films, that'd be great. That would be fantastic. HyperNext13 says, is it called Candy? I should check it out. Heath Ledger's very good choice. Phenomenal actor as well. Yes, he is. Gannison says, have you watched original Magnificent Seven? The remake is good. I wish Hollywood make more Western movies. Yeah, I think that the modern Western's very good. I think one of the best examples of that is actually 3:10 to Yuma. The remake is fantastic. I've actually never seen the original 3:10 to Yuma. I almost don't want to, because I don't want to have to say that the remake's better, because I always hate saying that. But I've actually not seen the original Magnificent Seven. If you want to say the original Magnificent Seven is the Seven Samurai, then yes, I have seen it. But I'm assuming you just mean the original Western film. Rosetta Allen says, Disney has done a lot to bash hunters. Never treat the human in a single movie or show. It does show a huge bias. And again, I'm not a hunter, so I'm not going to pick up on that kind of stuff. But I feel that it's mostly just them establishing characters, and it happens to be in that kind of scenario. I mean, if we want to talk about, the one film that I think is very clear in its messaging, because it's a central part of the film, to me, Bambi's mother getting shot by a hunter is such a small blip in the story. Compare that to a film like Fern Gully, which has throughout the film the comments about deforestation. That is the major plot of the film, is all about deforestation. And that is consistently brought about in the film, right? So that to me is an example of, here's a message and we're going to plow it into your face. But I don't think Fern Gully was that? I don't think that was Disney. Because even though it had Robin Williams, I think that film, production company was Croyer Films, Australia. Yeah. So it was Croyer Films, FAI. It was 20th Century Fox. So yeah, that was not even a Disney film, and yet that film had a clear message. I don't think Bambi, again, from what I can remember, it's been a very long time since I've seen it, has the same type of clear "we hate hunters" message. Other than that one plot point. Rosetta says, have a good night. I got to rest. Oh, rest up, please. Please rest up. Please rest up. Get that bed rest. John Early says, I don't understand why Snyder can't be a director-photographer. Imagine this. Zack Snyder as DP on Bond 26, and Martin Campbell was the director. Campbell knows how to relaunch Bond. Here's the thing, though, is that even though I like his vision, I don't really know how much of it is his... Because, again, he doesn't do the DPing. Last time I checked. I don't think he does. So when I say vision, I mean I think that he would be good as a producer. I think Zack Snyder as a producer would be better because some producers, depending on their role, have a very clear control of the vision of the film, and then they work hand in hand with the director and the DP. So I don't think DP specifically would be a good role for him either, because I'd rather have someone like, oh my goodness, why am I blanking out on right now? The guy, the dude who did 1917, who is Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins, I would rather them have Roger Deakins do it, because Roger Deakins did Skyfall, and if there's one thing we can say about Skyfall, it's one of the best shot Bond films ever in history. So, yeah. Dean Approve, what's going on, bro? Says, sup, man? How do you feel about Disney Star Wars versus Warner Brothers DC franchise? How do they compare? Well, Disney Star Wars has definitely, to me, I think at this point, sadly, been more profitable than the DC universe. Not counting the Nolanverse. Again, just looking at the films that we've gotten so far, because they had Justice League, which I believe lost money. I haven't done the numbers on that, but I'm pretty sure that film lost money because of how much it cost, and only made like $650 million worldwide. So I feel that those movies haven't made nearly as much in net profit, because the films cost so much to make, and they really don't make that much on their investments when you think about it. It's only recently that they've had a lot of success. Like, again, Joker is the most successful DC film so far. It's made $500+ million in net gain profit. Which is very insane when you think about it. GMonkey76 says, didn't the hunter not kill Snow White in the original cartoon? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could argue. I mean, the Huntsman character was always shown to be a good guy in that original story, right? So, Glenzer says, you said Disney will remake everything. They won't touch Song of the South. That's a great point. Actually, no, they will. They'll touch it so that way they can grab every copy they can to hide it in their vault for no reason. Literally, like, watch clips from the movie, because they're available everywhere. In fact, you can find the whole movie now anywhere pretty much. And I don't really still understand the problem with it, because it was made at a certain time of history. And guess what? It portrays a certain time in history. It's like these people can't understand that history happened. Greta, what's going on, girl? Says, hello, everyone in Odin. Greta, how are you? How are you doing? Alice McCarthy says, I agree with your statement. My wife and her family are big on hunting, and she loves Fox and the Hound and Bambi. And again, as I said, I'm not saying that there isn't an anti-hunting message. I'm just saying I don't see the evidence of it, personally. So we got one person that thinks that, and we got Alice McCarthy saying something different. So again, I think it's that falls more so into subjective view than objective reality at this point. Again, I could be wrong on this point, because I have not seen that film in a long time, so I can't give you exact plot points at this point. HyperX13 says, those Turkish trolls are corrupted by Sauron and Ugandan Knuckles black magic. But do you know the way, my friends? Do you know the ways? Let us see. Jumping back over into D-Live, Captain Gentry says, Nolan did the best. Okay. Captain Peabody says, I didn't say that, Will did. Oh, I'm sorry if I didn't say that. Captain Gentry said that. I'm sorry. We make mistakes. Captain Gentry has a couple things here. It says, in my view, Disney films were aimed mainly at kids. Hence, animals were the good guys. So by coincidental default, hunters were bad. It was no agenda on their part, I don't think, just catering more to kids, not showing the nuance of it all. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's a very, very good point. Like, not, again, obviously you could argue that he's the bad guy because he's the one that takes the life of Bambi's mom. But just because that happens in the film, I don't think means that what they were trying to get out of the film was, let's teach kids that hunters are bad. Because they never really, again, I haven't seen the film in a long time, but I don't remember them showing, the last time I remember, the hunter is just kind of like in the background. He's this fuzzy character. You never really see him. You don't know anything about him. All you know is that he's a hunter. That's all you know about him. Like, I feel like if they were going to hit the agenda, they would be like focusing on like, ooh, this guy's evil, and look at his evil face and evil eyes, and he hates that I think would be falling more into that. Cat Peabody says, I think Willow needs a cushion. No, you see, at this point, she's just in a tiny little ball. She's in a little ball. She literally gets herself in the weirdest positions, and we don't know how she's comfortable. Like, she'll be on her back and just fully like sprawled out. She'll be like laying over us sideways, completely like hanging back, and she's asleep. She actually gets in the most uncomfortable positions, and yet somehow, some way, is able to stay comfortable. It doesn't make any sense to me. Captain Gentry says, I think the hunter killing Bambi's mom was just there to put a sense of danger in the film rather than to put an actual bad guy in there. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, as I said, it's a film about animals. One of the characters has to die. One natural way in which animals die is hunters. Like, I think that the film, they could have done the same thing without a hunter and it would have had the same effect. And I don't think that they chose a hunter for messaging, personally. Yeah, again, I think this is just a subjective disagreement. And I still respect you, Rosetta. HyperNext13 says, have you seen Rosemary's Baby? Actually, have not seen it yet. Gennison says, I'm getting tired of superhero movies, and now how I wish more cowboy movies and more space movies. Films go through, if you look to film history, trends are always changing. So we could easily see us go into a new space movie era. Right now, we're in the era of the sequel, though. So we're just getting movies all over the place at this point in time. We're also in that superhero era as well. However, I think Endgame was the end game for that. Because I think now you're gonna start to see a giant drop-off in box office for those films. I'm not saying that they're going to lose money. But I do think you are going to see some changes happen because I think people are burnt out on it. I think Birds of Prey is going to be one of the first real tests because it'll be one of the first comic book movies where it's a team of comic book characters, not like just Joker, which, again, Joker is like technically a comic book movie because it's based off comic book characters, but it's a very different movie. Birds of Prey is playing like a comic book movie in a lot of ways. The trailers, the marketing, all that stuff. And I don't think that film is going to do well. Now, that's not a great metric because I think it's going to fail for a lot of other reasons. Mostly the trailers have been crap and the marketing has been crap. But yeah, I agree. I'm tired of it as well. Greta, thank you. Judy Garland died at 47. I knew that it was her late 40s, but still very, very, very young nonetheless. So thank you for that information. I appreciate it. All right, we are getting to the end of the stream, so let me try and get through some last bit questions. Hardwick says, I think that Dave Bautista would make a great Bane. Physically, yes. Hybrid says, I think it would have been more cool and intimidating if a WWE wrestler like Kane played Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, that's a good shout. Hypern X13, Dread is one of the few remakes that I liked more than the original. Wish they'd expand on it. I wish they would expand on it too. Yeah, that version with Carl Urban is fantastic. If you've never seen that version of it, of Dread, it is wonderful. Harbeck says, what are your thoughts on the rumor that Marvel Studios is building up to T'Challa passing the mantle of Black Panther on to Shuri? Really hope not, because the dude playing Black Panther, playing T'Challa, is great. And even though I didn't like Black Panther, I do like that actor as T'Challa. And if that's the direction they're going in, it's very clear that's very clear in their messaging. Neon says, Bambi's mother was killed by Kraven the Hunter. MCU crossover confirmed. Oh, boy. Hybrid says, speaking of nature and deforestation, do you plan on seeing Princess Mononoke? Sorry if I'm sounding annoying asking this every single time. I think that's the next film playing in the series in theaters. Probably not. Again, I haven't made it to any of the other ones so far, and I doubt I'll have time. And also, unfortunately, those films are not covered under my AMC membership, and so that would just be extra cash. And I have access to the film already because I believe that's a film that I own that I just haven't watched yet. Sasha Neon says, Fern Gully was more anti-deforestation than anti-poaching. Tim Curry's Toxic Love is rather sketchy regardless. Fun song, but sketchy. No. Yeah, Fern Gully was against deforestation. That was the point, yeah. That's what I was saying. I was saying that was clear messaging in a film. Unlike Bambi, which I don't think is really anti-hunter or anti-poaching. But Tim Curry's Toxic Love is a fantastic song. Slime beneath me, slime up above. Oh, you know that. Toxic Love. Oh my goodness, I love that song so much. Harvick says, I wouldn't trust Zack Snyder as a producer. He talked about his DCU plans at an event, and he had planned on taking 5 or 6 movies to build up to Superman acting like Superman. Yeah, as I said, but that's where I think he could do the least damage. G-Monkey76 says, you gotta kill it before you can grill it. Hunting for food, good. Hunting for sport, bad. Yes. John Early, you know what's funny? The TV trope website called Chris Nolan Batman Films, The Dark Knight Saga, assuming they were gonna milk Nolan's Batman dry before it came a trilogy. Well, also getting back to the point, that G-Monkey76 made, I think that's another good point about Bambi, is that if the hunter is the villain, it's not because he's a hunter, it's because he shot the animal and then didn't follow up. Because, yeah, I agree. Hunting for sport, where you're just killing the animals and leaving them there and not actually utilizing them, for me, that's not good. That's a no-go for me. But killing for food and for hide and things like that, again, no problem with that. So I guess that's a point you can make. Genesis says, gotta go to work. Glad to be on the stream. Glad to have you here. Hail Father says, Velocipaster, where a priest gains the ability to become a dinosaur and uses that power to fight evil, was an absolute unadulterated crap. Not the room-worthy crap. Oh, no, Father. That was a movie that I saw, and it's actually available on Amazon Prime. Okay, so I've heard two opinions on it. One said it's so bad it's good. Father says it's so bad it's bad. All right. Good to hear it, Father. You made it just right at the end because we're starting to wrap things up. Dina Prue says, considering the parallels of Disney, Star Wars, and DC, do you think that we could see a restructuring from Star Wars leading to Joker tier-like films? Love the Hounds. I love my Hounds as well. And yeah, I think that's a direction that Hollywood will eventually go in. Sadly, and I think that means that they're going to be bad movies. Glinzer, did you name your dog after the movie and future Netflix show or after the Buffy character? So Willow was named after two people, actually. Her full name is Willow Wash. So Willow, named after Willow from Buffy. Wash, named after, of course, Wash from the Firefly series. And then, of course, River, named after River Tam. And her middle name is Sophia, because her original name was Sophia. So we're like River Sophia. It's just a great rolling off the tongue. So we didn't come up with a fun middle name for her, but that's because it's her original name when we got her, when we adopted her. Yeah, River's awake and she's right by me and she's sitting and she's like, I'm a good pup. And yeah, whenever there's a good doggo, you pet the doggo, and that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, because River's a good puppy. Yeah, you're a good pup. Yeah. Little teenager. And Captain Mr. Roy dropping the GIF over on DLive. Yes, good sir. So he did that for me. Actually, he found a clip of the show where River was on my lap and I was petting her, and so he turned it into a GIF to post over on DLive, and it's freaking fantastic. I love it. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. Mark Lazur says, what do you think of the Willow TV series coming to Disney Plus? I'm kind of asking the question, why? Because that was one of the few movie nights that we had. Willow was the one that kind of had the least impact on me. And I think there was something really rough going on in my life at the time, which is why I was very distracted by it. Maybe it was just a stream night, wasn't going well. Or something was not going right that night, though. And I think that's the reason why I don't remember anything about that movie. So I just don't understand it personally at this point. Oscar Carly says, I meant current day Disney would teach hunters as bad, but Bambi and Fox and Hound was the 50s and 80s. So yeah, definitely subjective. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Greta, where's Greta? She was the last comment before it skipped. Greta says, have you seen Midsommar? I feel like some people might hate it, but I thought it was well done and the acting is excellent. I've not seen it yet. I do have access to it though, and I skipped around through it, not to see like spoilers or anything like that. But I got to the part where there's just very, 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 very clear and unnecessary like random sex nudity. So I don't know if I really want to watch it. I believe you that the acting's good though. Hiram says, any thoughts on Star Wars either being debated as science fiction or science fantasy? I've always thought of it as science fantasy. Yeah, I mean, I think there are people that do debate the topic, but I don't really have an opinion on it nonetheless. I definitely think it's more fantasy though. Niggle Noodle says, Hollywood should focus on making sequels to films that never existed. By default, they will have created original films. Fair point. All right, keep in mind that Bambi is based on the 1923 Austrian book Bambi, A Life in the Woods, so Disney didn't come up with Mother's Death. Yes, you're right about that too. They stole a lot of ideas. Slicer says, Endgame is the aptly named swan song of the theater industry. I think that's actually a fair point overall. Be sure to mention the Chosen of Valhalla stream tomorrow. So yes, tomorrow, noon Eastern time, will be our Chosen of Valhalla stream, where my Chosen of Valhalla from Patreon Subscribe Star will be joining me on the channel. This will be live on the channel. I am thinking, and I put this out in a video that I posted to Patreon and Subscribe Star, of changing some things up with the stream, where maybe recording it instead of having it as an actual stream with pre-established questions. Like way we could say, hey, the chosen stream is happening on this date. Submit your questions by this point. So that way we can just go through questions and kind of go through the table in that way. I think that would make it more engaging because it is a stream that most people don't watch. And there's nothing wrong with that at all because I still love talking to my peeps. But I'm thinking of doing that because I think that having a just giant thing of questions might work better. But if I do make that change, I will let everyone know, and it'll be posted on it'll be updated on Patreon, be updated on Subscribestar as well. But thank you. Yeah, so tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, Chosen of Valhalla stream will be. Tina, thanks for letting him know. Father Christopher Miller says, my brother kills so many deer that my nieces and nephews are rubbing their hands against trees. Alice McCarthy says, what about killing clankers for sport? Killing clankers? Yes. Hardwick, maybe the killing of Bambi's mother was initially understood as a violation of sportsmanship, killing a mother. Many hunters used to adhere to rules of sportsmanship. Ooh, that's a good point, too. Father Christopher Miller says, if you're Catholic, it's bad. Not that it's really mocking the church, but let's just say the priest puts on a rosary to hear. Confessions. Okay, yeah, that would bother me too, Father. I think that me and you are definitely on the same page with that. That would probably bother me in the same way. All right, let's try and jump through last-minute questions. And I know you are, but I'm just stating for those that don't know. Thank you, Father. I appreciate it. And then says, they made the movie with only $35,000. The room was made for $6 million. That's a great point, Father. But nowadays, $35,000 can actually go much further. So, Greta says, the stream kept stopping that night, and you were very frustrated. Okay, Greta, you have a much better mind than I do. That makes sense. That's the reason why I was very frustrated. Father says the main priest's parents are killed in front of him by having their car explode. When it goes to the show, the car explosion is just a black box with car explosion. Tina says, and I didn't have a copy of it, so I was trying to watch it on a YouTube video, and it was in 2 parts. That wasn't a good night for anybody. Yeah, Tina, definitely was not. Greta says there's only one sexual scene, and it's kind of dumb, but there's a reason for it. Yeah, but you know me. Alex says it's creepy and gross, unnecessary nudity. Definitely don't recommend Midsommar. Ooh, so Alex says creepy, gross, unnecessary nudity, and definitely doesn't recommend it. Okay. Yeah, again, I think the acting for sure would be pretty good, but you know how I feel about that. Father Christopher Miller says, heads, not hands. James Hancock, Odin, what's on your monitor? Because Willow is watching. No, she's not. She's asleep. Her eyes are she's passed out. She is literally passed out right now. Again, she follows the craziest positions to fall asleep in. But yeah, she is totally asleep right now. Soul Assassin says, so when are you going to do a Velocipaster stream? And then Slicer, we once visited my aunt and uncle in Wisconsin. Couldn't park in the garage because he was skinning a deer. Oh, damn. And then D-Live had some people, too. Let's see. Where is it? Captain Gentry says, oh, now there's a thought. Can you imagine The Undertaker playing Bane in a Batman film? That'd be crazy. I love that. Captain Gentry also says, see, that is the problem. If he wants to take 5 films to build up being Superman, that's okay. Just don't put him in the costume then. Great point. And Captain Peabody says, Willow is looking at you like, Daddy, can we go to sleep now? Actually, she's not because she's asleep. She is totally passed out. Father says, my nieces and nephews are rubbing their heads against a tree like a deer because they eat too much deer meat. Oh, okay. That makes more sense, Father. Neons, we used the back door to not scare my sisters. Alex Garley says, Willow looks like the after some chicken nuggies and chocolate milk earlier. Yes, she does. And Harwick says, if the Critical Drinkers review is to be believed, Midsommar is pretentious and boring. And yeah, the previous film that he made before Midsommar, I did not like because it was pretentious. So something tells me that I probably will not like that film. Just going to be honest. I think that the director is very pretentious, very similar to the dude that did, what film did he do prior? So they have the one director who did The Witch and then did The Lighthouse. And again, he makes beautiful looking films, but they're pretentious as all get out, and that's why I overall don't like the stories to those films. Midsommar was made the guy also did a horror film that was incredibly pretentious and really bad, and I'm forgetting the name of it. Hereditary, Hyper. Thank you. Hereditary, yeah. Oh my gosh, Hereditary sucked. I hated Hereditary. That one was so freaking pretentious. So yeah, same dude that did that. Doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I'm willing to give it a shot though, Greta, because I do like good acting. And I'm not saying that Hereditary didn't have good acting, but oh my goodness. Captain Frank and the Clan just dropped 20 lemons. Oh my God. He's spamming the chat right now. He's dropping 25 lemons. Daniel Thorne, I love the director's cut of Midsommar. Don't know what unnecessary nudity there was. Well, the nudity that exists is usually pretty bad. The Babadook, I like the Babadook, Hardwick. I probably won't like it. It's also unsettling. Probably, Grant. Probably. All right. Anyway, so yeah, he just dropped like 25 lemons over there. But anyway, I do have to hit the hay because my back's starting to hurt a little bit, and we have been out for an hour and 41 minutes. So Frank and the Clan, you've just taken over. You've just taken over this, haven't you? You've just taken over the chat. Thank you very much for the lemon donation, for those very, very sour lemons. But anyway, you guys are all amazing people. Thank you so much for watching the stream. Please make sure you vote for the Wednesday Raven Awards. Again, Tina, I think, has the link of it still, so check the link out there. But also just go to my website, ombreviews.home.blog, and you'll be able to find a section dedicated to the Raven Awards where you can see last year's winners and nominees, and also this year's nominees as well, where you can also vote for your favorites and least favorites of the year. Daniel Thorne just dropped 2 ice cream. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. But yeah, make sure you vote for the Raven Awards. And also, please check out the links in the description of the video if you want to buy some pretty cool stuff. So these posters right here from a place called Displate, where if you do buy the posters using my link, there does indeed, I do get a kickback from that. So I'm going to be totally transparent about that. But if you use the code ODIN, lowercase ODIN, you get 15% off your orders. So that is something that I can help give to you. But also the website normally has a lot of really great deals on a lot of their stuff. So if you like metal posters like these right here with Alita Battle Angel and John Wick 3, actually that's John Wick 2, then go ahead and check that out. Also, if you want to buy a t-shirt or any type of merch, O's Movie Blog merch, I have a Teespring and TeePublic. You can find the links to those in the description. Also, Heimdall should have been posting links all throughout the night as well. And so please think about checking those out as well, because those all support the channel. But the merch is put at the lowest possible price possible, because I don't want you guys to have to spend too much money. It's one thing that I can try and do while also trying to plug the channel, stuff like that. Also, please think about becoming a Patreon and Subscribe Star member, where you get a lot of really cool benefits, including the $5 tier, which gives you access to giveaways. There's currently a giveaway that's still live. A winner will be chosen very soon, where the winner will get an entire set of the Disney's Harmy, or rather not Disney, the Harmy's Despecialized Edition Star Wars films, all on Blu-ray. So far, 2 people have entered into that one. So that one, again, will be chosen very soon. There will be one winner chosen from that. And there are many other giveaways that happen over on the Subscribe Star and over on the Patreon side. But Patreon's giveaways are specifically and exclusively done through my Discord server, and check out the Discord as well. There's a lot of fun stuff over there also. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Love you all in the chat. You guys are freaking great. And yeah, you all have a great night. And as always, God bless. And for some reason, the video on that wasn't working. So what that means I have to do is I have to try and fix that really quick, because that has my... let's see, this is what I'm trying to go. All right, see you later. And now I want to give a shout out to my January Patreon members: animation commentator Brian P, Dion, Divex, Elizabeth M, Enrique Evangelista, Fan Addicts of Film, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, J.J. Jonathan Jerembeck, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lanceloto, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, and Tina B, and Sharon Ferguson. Sharon, Thank you so much for being Patreon members. And of course, to my Subscribe Star peeps, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2Cool99, Darkstar57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebalan G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you so much for supporting me this month. You guys freaking rock. And a special news shout out to Jeff Lebowski and Steve Glasker. God bless.